Welcome back to a new video. This is me, and I recently bought a C32 AMG. In the last video, we showed you guys what it's like to take this car on the German Autobahn. But today, we're talking about the real side of owning an old AMG. The cost, the constant repairs, and what it's really like to live with one of these cars. So, was buying the C32 a dream come true, or just a big mistake? Before we actually get into the video, I want to talk to you guys about the engine of the car. Under the hood, the C32 comes with a 3.2 liter V6 paired with a supercharger, or as Mercedes calls it, a compressor. From factory, it makes around 354 horsepower and about 450 Newton meters of torque, which, for 2003, was actually really impressive for a mid-size sedan. In comparison, this car has 14 horsepower more than my buddy's GR Supra with a 3.0 liter engine. It's paired with a 5-speed automatic transmission, and it can go 0 to 60 in just about 5 seconds flat. For its time, this was a real Autobahn weapon, and honestly, even today it still feels quick. But of course, it wouldn't be an old AMG without some problems. The engine sounds questionable. Which is why we decided to create this video to show you guys what it's actually like to own this car and talk about the costs that come along with it. Alright guys, so now let's talk about the costs of owning this car on a day-to-day basis. It's important to say that I do live in Germany, and we're going to talk about things like insurance, the actual cost of the car, and taxes. I think it varies and really depends on which country you're from, so just take that into consideration. So first, let's get the basics down and talk about what I paid for this car. I actually paid 12.7k for this car. It was listed for 14k, but I bought it from a friend and somebody I knew, and they made a pretty good price on it, you know. It does have some kilometers on it. I bought it at about 170,000 kilometers. It now has 193. Now for the running costs, I do have to say I live fairly far away from my workplace, which means I do drive a lot. So the fuel is the most hefty one on the list. I pay around anywhere from 450 to up to 600 euros a month just for fuel costs. You know, some months I don't drive it a lot on my off days, and sometimes I do. So I would say a good like middle value is probably 500 euros that I pay in a month for fuel, and that's already pretty hefty. You know, it's pretty expensive. If you're someone who owns this car and that doesn't drive as much as me, you're obviously not going to pay as much. And I think the fuel prices in Germany are higher than they are in, for example, the US or somewhere. For the last 7,500 kilometers, this car consumed about 12 liters for 100 kilometers. That's about 20 miles per gallon. We just looked it up. Should be 20 miles per gallon. I think that's okay. Following up, we have the insurance costs. Now you have to think, I'm only 20 years old, so I don't know how it is in other countries, but in Germany, the younger you are and the less driving experience you have, the more you actually pay in insurance. I'm pretty sure it's like the same system in a lot of countries. But I pay about 230 euros a month for insurance, which is also a lot. I've talked to some of my friends and they don't pay as much, or some just pay half as much. It also depends on how much horsepower your car has, obviously, and things like that all come into play. I end up paying 230 euros a month just for insurance. We also have the taxes that come once a year, and that's 260 euros. I think that's actually okay. And lastly, we can talk about the repairs I did on this car. I've owned this car for 1 year now. I've had quite my share of some repairs. You know, there's just some usual things that happen. Like I got a flat tire one time, and that cost me about 170 euros to replace. But then I also had some bigger issues, like the compressor pulley, which had to be rebuilt or cleaned because, you know, at 200,000 kilometers, this car obviously has seen some things. And the total cost from all of that, from like little repairs and stuff over time, was about 1,000 euros. And now, just to show you guys, something else happened after us recording this original video. Especially with these old cars, you really have to be ready for anything. Most of the things aren't anything major, but these little things do happen every now and then, and they can just be annoying. So yesterday I was driving to work, and the Motorabdeckung unterm Motorrad, lower engine cover.
Yeah, maybe, yeah.
The lower engine cover fell off, like a screw came loose or something. And then this part, obviously, because it had air going in it, was scraping on the ground and broke off. So in my break at work, I had to get some duct tape to hold it in place for the ride back. And now we're gonna take it off completely because I can't drive like this. We have to order a new lower engine cover. Heard something.
Bro. You're gonna tell me you didn't see fucking smoke?
And whenever I slowed down the car, I could hear something scraping. It was like, I was like, yep, someone should definitely. Nice. Bro, what are you doing?
You know, I thought while we were at it, why don't just improve the aerodynamics? So yeah.
Explain what that does.
So you just see the air is flowing from right here, and this is like the part where it swirls up the air, and it keeps you from going faster, you know. But now there's the air resistance, okay, but then it's smooth, like to the back.
How much horsepower?
1.5. Okay. This is to reduce emissions right there. You know, usually it's like this big of a hole, but no, it's just this little strip. It's like a finger wide, you know. So less exhaust, less emissions, less emissions, and yeah, better for the environment.
We had to replace the map sensor, which we actually did ourselves. That only cost me about like 30 euros or something. I would say it's about 100 euros a month of owning this car that I had to consider as repair costs. So that makes around 1,200 in a year. So all the running costs sum up to about a couple thousand just in 1 year of ownership. Honestly, that's why I'm thinking of getting a new daily, because it's just too much money to spend on this car if I drive it every day to work. But I'm not actually going to sell the AMG. As you guys saw in the last video, we actually bought a place where we can fit some cars, and I think this is a pretty good spot for it. Maybe we can do some mods in the future, and maybe we have to do some repairs in the future after listening to the engine. So guys, that's what it's really like to own an old AMG at 20. Expensive, stressful, but it's still worth it in my opinion. I've had a lot of fun with this car, driving it around with my friends, or even driving it to work, you know. Sometimes, especially in Germany, we can make use of the Autobahn and we can go fast sometimes. And you can really feel the character in these old cars. I mean, I've never really driven anything new because this is my only and my first car. I think it was the right decision, but it might be time for a new daily. So good. Thank you guys so much for watching today's video. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And with that, I say, we hopefully catch you guys in the next one.
Less exhaust, less emissions.